Have you ever wondered what the best Marvel movies are? Here's our list of the top 10.
Number 10, The Avengers. Definitely a minority opinion, but I truly think that this movie has not aged well, and is only great for being the first team up in the franchise. Aside from that, the villain is great, and the action is good for a regular movie, but fairly standard for an MCU movie. My biggest issue is that only half the team has any depth and personality, those being Iron Man, Captain America, and the Hulk. Thor hasn't really hit his stride yet as a character and should have been the focus of the film due to the villain being his own brother, but he didn't really shine or have any standout scenes. Black Widow and Hawkeye are just kind of there and aren't given much of anything to do. The film lacked tension and for the most part dragged on with the final battle just being killing waves after waves of aliens. Not bad, but not great. Number 9, Spider-Man Homecoming. Tom Holland had a rough task going into this film, considering that he would inevitably be compared to not one, but two Spider-Man portrayals, that of Tobey Maguire and Andrew Garfield. Thankfully, he passed the test with flying colors and managed to give us both an entertaining Spider-Man and an entertaining Peter Parker. He had great chemistry with his best friend Ned, and Iron Man does great in a supporting mentor role. Vulture ends up being one of the better MCU villains with his relatable motives and his surprisingly terrifying persona. The only downsides for this film were the weak action sequences and the overcomplication of the Spider-Man suit. Number 8, Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 2. Though not as good as the original, this movie stays true to the winning formula of the first one and gives us more of what we liked. More 20th century songs, more Rocket Group banter, and more depth into Quill's mysterious past. Ego is one of the better villains of the franchise and kickstarts a chain of good villains. Ego, Vulture, Hela, Killmonger, and Thanos. He's terrifying in his complete disregard for life, and his god complex causes him to forget and understand genuine emotions. The film does a good job of giving the side characters of Nebula and Yondu more development to the point where it was sad to see Yondu die at the end. The only knocks against this film are that some of the humor doesn't land, and the final fight scene was a bit too explosive and confusing. Number 7, Captain America: The First Avenger. The best movie in the first phase, for sure. The character of Captain America is done justice as Chris Evans delivers a white knight hero who had all of his heroic qualities before he had his powers. Red Skull is one of the stronger early villains thanks to his distinct look and his comical evil Nazi schemes that are made intimidating by his great acting. The supporting cast is also strong, with Bucky being established as a loyal companion, Carter being one of the better love interests, and Howard Stark masterfully being portrayed as Iron Man if he were around in World War II. I also appreciate the way the movie managed to combine supernatural and high-tech elements with the World War II tone without coming across as cartoonish. Number 6, Guardians of the Galaxy. This movie was a bigger surprise than any other movie in the franchise. Marvel Studios managed to make a movie about a group of obscure characters with no prior mainstream exposure entertaining. What made the film really succeed was that all the characters were modified from their comic versions to make them more appealing. Star-Lord was made more likable and human through the great comedy of Pratt, as well as his Walkman, which is very popular with fans. Rocket and Groot were made into an endearing comedy duo. Even Drax had a hilarious personality, being oblivious to sarcasm and other social cues. The film had a great soundtrack as well as great visuals. Number 5, Black Panther. Although a cool character in the comics, Black Panther lacks any memorable storylines and strong villains. Thankfully, this movie delivers. What's great about this Black Panther is that pretty much all the characters have a place in the movie, and Black Panther comes across every bit as noble and heroic as Captain America while managing to distinguish himself from every prior hero. Killmonger is a top 5 villain for sure, thanks to the intimidating yet charismatic presence that Jordan gives the character. He's masterfully portrayed as being both relatable and sympathetic, yet also terrifying in his unstable and cold nature as he kills innocents and allies alike with no hesitation. The film also had a great soundtrack and managed to create the country of Wakanda in a way that blended both futurism and African tradition effectively. Number 4, Captain America: The Winter Soldier. Easily the best sequel in the entire franchise. This installment had a welcome shift in Captain America's portrayal, as he's no longer the smiling, adored American hero. Instead, he's on the run from both the enemy and his friends in his movie of spies and deception. The Winter Soldier is one of the most interesting villains, as he's complex in the sense that he's Cap's former best friend and also has the perfect villain aesthetic in his look and silent demeanor. The film also has some of the best action scenes in the franchise, which is an achievement, considering that none of the characters have standout powers, like Hulk or Thor, with the final helicarrier fight scene being one of the most intense in the entire franchise. The feature also gave Black Widow and new character Falcon plenty of spotlight to become cool and entertaining in their own right. Number 3, Captain America: Civil War. a worthy conclusion to the best MCU trilogy. This feature succeeds in giving every hero moments in the spotlight and actually delves into the different personalities possessed by these heroes and their motivations, particularly the strong, righteous morals of Captain America against the stubborn beliefs of Iron Man. This installment effectively integrates two new characters, Spider-Man and Black Panther, into the plot without wasting time on their origins. The film manages to successfully hook us onto these characters and want to see them in their own solo movies. Black Panther in particular was unknown to many people, yet he actually had a major arc in this movie and had some of the best action scenes. Civil War for me had the best action scenes we've ever seen in a Marvel movie outside from Infinity War, especially in the airport battle. The film also left audiences wondering if the Avengers would ever be united again, which is a big part of future installments. Number 2. Thor Ragnarok. Until this movie, I never cared much for Thor. Not many did. In the 4 movies prior, he was never a standout character and was pretty boring despite his unique backstory. Thankfully, we got a complete rehash in Ragnarok, not just of the character, but of the whole world of Thor. Gone were the dull color schemes, the lame supporting cast, and the fact that the only character with personality was Loki. In come vibrant colors, new interesting characters, and riveting personalities. This movie is a complete package. Every aspect isn't just passable, it's good. Thor is now the great hero he was supposed to be, as he's now easy to feel sympathy for, while also coming across as both funny and incredibly powerful. Loki completes his arc, and firmly chooses to be a hero and help in the grand scheme of things, rather than be selfish and continue his evil ways. New edition Valkyrie has some great moments of her own, and just like Loki, has a redemption arc. Even Heimdall finally had his own moments and no longer watches from the sidelines, and instead proves himself as a true Asgardian hero. We also get more exploration into the conflict between Banner and Hulk, which has big implications for future installments, namely Infinity War. The villains were some of the strongest to date in the MCU. The Grandmaster is an amusing side villain who mixes charisma and style with complete, utter disregard for sentient life. Hela may be a single-faceted character, but Blanchett's screen presence more than makes up for it, and she's easily the most evil MCU character and one of the most intimidating. Throughout the entire film, she is thoroughly wicked and irredeemable. The action scenes were also very strong, as we finally got to see a lengthy clash between Hulk and Thor to see he was truly the strongest Avenger. Number 1. Avengers Infinity War. This movie had immensely high expectations and deserves the top spot, even if only because it both met and exceeded them. Despite a staggering amount of heroes, no hero felt useless in this entire film. All the characters were smartly integrated into this movie, and more importantly, never made the screen feel too crowded at any point. The action scenes were my favorite in the MCU so far, especially the fights on Titan, which had some of the best visuals in the entire franchise, especially the beautifully choreographed fight scene between Thanos and Doctor Strange. The villain Thanos is a sure top 3 movie villain, as his drive to his goal is simultaneously sinister yet endearing, in a twisted way, as he truly believes that he's doing the right thing, and is willing to sacrifice what he loves most to do so. Furthermore, he's the one Marvel villain who actually wins and leaves the heroes in fragments. The film has so many memorable moments that it's hard to count, but one of the best is indisputably Thor's arrival in Wakanda, as it's just great to see Thor evolve from arguably being the lamest Avenger to a character that truly feels like a god.
Alright, that's it for now, YouTube. Thanks for watching. Remember to subscribe, hit the bell, and leave comments.